Raina Troy Hotline.
Alicia, Michael, what's going on?
We know you have takes. We have takes.
I'm actually surprised that your rant line, rave line, whatever, isn't completely full.
Why can't we just win a game?
Can I blame Michael Castillo for this?
Can I blame Bob Connolly for this?
Could I put on a zebra shirt and just go out there?
Scratch, claw, up against the wall.
Can't explain what I'm feeling right now, guys.
I can't believe it.
Let's open up that rave line! Woohoo!
Oh, I can't believe USC is undefeated in the SEC. Wait, we're in the Big Ten. What's our record? Oh, no!
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Rant Line Radio, episode 584, coming to you on Monday, January 6th. We're going to storm YouTube here live and talk about the offseason, set the stage for the offseason, walk through the transfer portal updates, talk about some news, open up a big mailbag, and so much more. As always, you can follow us on social media at Rant of Troy, email us, rantoftroy@fanside.com, and our phone number, 818-643-7227, Second Whispering Show. I'm your host, Michael Castillo, joined along with my co-host here in the Rant of Troy studio in Los Angeles, across the room from me, Lisa Deritol.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, we're back. It's a new year. New year, new us.
It is. It's new year, new podcast. Same podcast, but new podcast.
Yeah. New intro.
New intro, which I hadn't heard. I knew that our friend Kenneth Martin was going to drop in and update his intro as he has done now every once in a while since his very memorable and iconic Rose Bowl intro piece. And I knew he was calling in. I didn't know what it was, so that was a delight. That was a joy to experience live here.
Yeah, it's great. We love Kenny. By the way, happy birthday, Kenny. Happy birthday, bud.
Happy birthday. Yeah.
Let's get some happy birthdays in the chat going for Kenny. We love Kenny. And it's his birthday. So, or is his birthday yesterday?
Yeah, it was his birthday yesterday.
Yeah. So, happy birthday. A lot of stuff to come on this episode. Really sort of, we talked about it after the CarCast, or during the CarCast, that we weren't going to have a Fallout episode to talk about the Las Vegas Bowl. Yes, obviously we know that SC is SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl champions, but I don't know that we needed a Fallout episode, so we didn't do a Fallout episode on the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. But we're gonna do some over-under, crown a champion for over-under a little bit later. But I think, I think everybody's just eager for the off-season to move on from 2024, right?
Yeah.
Or is it just me?
I mean, I was eager to move on from 2024 many weeks ago. Now that we have moved on and it's January 6th and it has started to sink in that there will it's a long off season is what I'm saying, and I would like to think that the Alicia from November is still rattling around in my brain somewhere, screaming at the top of her lungs not to fall for the normal off-season, the off-season optimism.
I actually think this is a case of optimistic Alicia.
And yet I'm putting together an absurdly early top 25 for fansided.com, and I have USC ranked.
You do? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I hate myself for that, but
Okay.
But I have reasons, so yeah, it's starting early, guys. It's starting early.
Well, you win the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl, and you can't not feel, pumped up about that. So,
perfect way to end a season as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, looking forward to how everything's going to come together. for the Trojans as we look ahead. Let's just get to the news, shall we? All right, I think we got to start with a report from the Los Angeles Times, from Ryan Karchi, that USC will hire a new GM, quote, in the coming weeks. This hire won't be dictated by Riley, says the story. Jen Cohen tried to poach Alabama GM Courtney Morgan last summer, and SC has a pool of final candidates with a wide array of backgrounds, including NFL front office and college experience guys.
Yeah, so USC has been operating with Dave Emmerich as their GM, but more of a de facto GM.
Sure.
The GM title, when he came in to claim it, was certainly not what we think of a GM in a professional sports standpoint, and certainly not what we would have thought of a GM being for a college football team. But now that NIL is what it is, now that the portal is what it is, and all of these, essentially you have to figure out how to put guys under contract. You need an actual GM who's going to do all of the GM-y kind of things. So USC has been hinting for months now that they're going to hire a GM. Ryan Karchi clarified on Twitter that they will be hiring a GM and restructuring the football program in terms of the how everything is organized and all of that, and that they consulted a former NFL executive or someone like that to basically give them a sense of like what they needed to change, where they needed to invest, and all of that kind of stuff. So it does sound like it's going to be a pretty sizable endeavor to undertake. I view this as frustrating as it has been to know that USC has been trying to hire a GM for what feels like forever, and that Karchi still says it's in the coming weeks, which is like I would have preferred in days. We will know who USC's GM is, so in the coming weeks feels interminable. But the positivity I take from this is, number one, that nugget that this is not a hire that Lincoln Riley is making, which tells us something that we've long wondered and thought that this will be the progression of college football, of college sports in general, that they're going to start looking more like an NFL structure, which is to say that your athletic director now becomes effectively your owner, and your like CEO or whatever. And they will then hire a GM who will then be sort of take over duties that the head coach does not do in the sense that in the NFL, Kevin O'Connell is not out there hiring his GM. Kevin O'Connell is the head coach, and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is the GM for the Minnesota Vikings. So that it is playing out that way is encouraging, because that's the way it should be. You should have a GM who, if not directly above Lincoln Riley, certainly not beholden to Lincoln Riley, is very important. And then, the other really encouraging thing is we know that, assuming that this is Jen Cohen making this hire, that she has already attempted to swing for the fences here. And going out and trying to get Alabama's GM or whatever title that he has with Alabama, that was a big move that USC reportedly, I believe CBS reported that USC offered him $1 million salary. Like, it was a big, a massive swing that showed real initiative from USC, that showed real competitiveness in terms of salary and all of that kind of element to try and bring somebody over. Obviously, it didn't work. Sometimes people just don't want to come and, leave where they're at, where they're comfortable with people they know, and go across the country and make that kind of move. So it didn't work out. But as we've said in the past, that with USC's hiring, the way that USC's gone about hiring, you can always, even if you whiff on a guy, the fact that you were going for that guy in the first place can be viewed as a real positive, and I think that's what you have to sort of read into this GM thing. We don't know who the GM will be, but the fact that USC will have a GM should be a net positive for the program, for USC's ability to wield their NIL efficiently and effectively, and for I would argue that and this could be a double-edged sword. I fully acknowledge that this could backfire majorly on USC, but I would argue that given the way that Lincoln Riley's tenure has played out thus far, that putting somebody who is not beholden to him, who creates a certain standard and is able to not be a yes man who challenges Lincoln Riley in the right ways, is basically the only way that this whole thing is going to work out. Like I said, could backfire big time, could be a disaster, but it's already been a disaster. So it's sort of you're playing with house money a little bit, and you hope that the GM comes in and is able to work with Lincoln Riley, but also build Lincoln Riley up in a way that he needs to be built up in a way that he has not been able to do on his own. So I think this is going to be an underrated sort of hire, but this is going to be probably the most important hire that USC makes this decade.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with everything. I've got a list right here, a little handy dandy list. Ignore that this is just the envelope. Pretend it's a real list. I've got a list of 3 names I think SC should look for a GM. Your thoughts? Number 1, Gerard Martinez. He is a GM.
He is a GM. He's already a GM.
He's already a GM.
Yeah.
And he knows USC football. He knows the fight song.
He does.
He is a GM. I believe he's been a GM his whole life too.
I believe so too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of experience.
Ton of experience.
Yeah. The other option I have, Theo Epstein. The greatest GM in the history of sports.
Who would say no to that?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And my last suggestion, and this of course comes from Ron Murray in the chat, Brandon Sosna. Legitimately, I mean this with every fiber of my being. You and I, not a fan of retreads, not a fan of internal hires or nepotistic hires or the other word that's not coming to my head right now because this is live streaming. The USC people hiring USC people. But is this job not like made for Brandon Sosna?
Yeah, I mean, especially because aside from, we know that Brandon Sosna's end goal essentially was to be an NFL GM, and he is working towards that goal. But so he has and is growing that skill set.
Yeah.
Not only that, but he is the one who led the charge to get Lincoln Riley in the first place. And you have to think that him coming in, that established relationship could, take off some of the potential abrasiveness that happens.
Sure, a relationship, but they haven't really worked together.
No, but
because Sosna left just as he was coming in.
No, but there's always this tension.
So it's a little bit of both.
If you think about the way NFL goes, and obviously this is totally new because in college this is the first time it's going to be happening this way with USC.
Yeah.
So it's a whole sort of new thing. But you think about in the NFL or any other sport, there's always a tension between a coach who was hired by one GM and then that GM is gone and a new GM comes in. There's always a tension between the head coach and the new GM who didn't hire them. If Brandon Sosna came to USC, then that would answer that question because Lincoln Riley would be dealing with somebody who literally believed in him enough to convince USC to give him a 10-year, $100 million contract to come to USC, who buys in fully to what he is as to his full potential. So, like, in that sense, yes, I think it would do a lot to ease some of that tension. The biggest problem I see there is that if I'm Brandon Sosna and my goal is to be an NFL GM, and I am steadily working my way up the chain in the NFL, then I'm not going to break that chain to go back to college in a new role at USC that is certainly not guaranteed to be successful. That would be sort of a different kind of challenge, and interrupt my sort of 5-year plan to go forward with, being in professional sports in the NFL. I just don't see that being particularly realistic.
Yeah, I still hear you saying you would never break the chain, never break the chain. And if you don't love me now, you don't love me now, you'll never love me again.
Yeah, I mean, that's
because I can still hear you saying.
Never break the chain.
You'll never break the chain. All right. A lot of comments in the chat about Emmanuel Pregnan. Let's get to that. Emmanuel Pregnan as reverse course announced he's. Would you say he's made his third decision of the offseason? At first, he was going to opt out. I think he got a bid to the Senior Bowl or something like that, right? Then he opted back in. He was going to come back. And now, after becoming an SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl champion, Emmanuel Pregnan back in the portal. Alicia, is this NIL posturing, or is this a legitimate transfer? Either way, how big of a panic button push is this for you?
It's a huge panic button push, because I'm on record as saying that I think that of all of the positions, offensive line is the most difficult to bring somebody in as an instant impact transfer portal player. Every other position, I think there's much more room for them to step in, become a starter right away, and have immediate success. On the offensive line, you simply just, across the country, you just don't really see that happening that much. Pregnan is a really good example of that. His first season at USC was pretty terrible, and then he found his footing this past season. And bringing him back for another year, considering how well he found his footing this past year, was going to be enormous. Absolutely enormous. So having him go into the portal now is catastrophic as far as I'm concerned for the offensive line. There is nobody who USC can bring in as a transfer who will upgrade or even match what USC would have gotten from Emmanuel Pregnan coming back as a third-year player who is familiar with the scheme, who is familiar with the team, who is familiar with his teammates, who has played a full season next to Elijah Page at left tackle. In that sense, it's a big problem. I would hope it's NIL posturing. I would hope that it's the kind of thing that USC can turn around and offer more and get him back in the fold. But I also, I'm not sure. I'm not going to bet on that, I guess, is where I'm at there. I'm not going to assume that that's what USC is going to do, because we've seen thus far from USC's approach to NIL is that USC does not seem interested in overpaying a player to keep that player, to bring in that player. They are approaching this around value, and they let Quentin Joyner walk because presumably he was asking for more than his value was perceived, and so USC let him walk. And you've got other players that have left that I'm sure USC could have kept if they wanted to keep them. They chose not to. And letting Emmanuel Pregnan walk, to me, says very much that he has offers from outside that are more than USC is willing to match. It's just different for me with this case because, yes, I agree. I think Quentin Joyner is replaceable to a certain degree. I do not think that Emmanuel Pregnan is replaceable. and that's a problem. So
it's less so that Quentin Joyner is replaceable. It's more so that running back is a position that you can replace, right?
Much easier to find a capable running back. We're going to talk about a couple that USC's already brought in. Find running backs in the portal to take over and be running back number one.
Yeah.
It is much, 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 much harder to find a guard in the portal who played well in your system already next to your franchise left tackle, and it's going to hurt whoever USC plugs in now at left guard is going to be probably less than Emmanuel Pregnan, because USC doesn't really have anybody ready to go right now, and they can't find anybody in the portal who is a 1-for-1. And it's probably going to negatively impact Elijah Page, because when you change the guy who's next to your tackle, there needs to be new chemistry built, new understanding, new trust, and all of that needs to get built up over an offseason. So I think this has negative ripple effects across USC's offensive line in a way that, could have happened anyways if he had gone to the NFL, but this feels much more unnecessary. Because if a guy wants to leave for the NFL, he just wants to leave for the NFL.
Yeah, we've talked with our good friend Jake Merrifield, the What's Bruin show, and about a lot of this stuff. And like we were having lunch with him the other day, and he was saying that like he thinks that people are going to go into the portal by default now and stay more often, because it is basically like you go into the portal and you just make it legal to have legal tampering, right? Like,
yeah.
Well, it's not tampering because it's legal, right? You know what I mean? And so you can get leverage to get other NIL deals. And so if that's all this is, and SC is able to haul him back in, more power to Emmanuel Pregnan to be able to do that. And then kudos to SC for answering whatever the request is. Joe in the chat says losing Pregnan proves that SC does not care anymore. I would say him going in the portal does not prove that. Him going in the portal and not coming back out towards SC starting lineup again could suggest that there's
it suggests that there's an issue because the decision makers are making a decision that I disagree with, but I disagreed with the Quentin Joyner decision too, and I think that what they've done in the portal has the great potential to prove me and a lot of other people wrong on the Quentin Joyner question. I do not think that this is an issue of how much they care. I think, again, this is an issue of USC is making decisions based on value. And there is a time and a place for that I have said from the beginning that I am sympathetic to this ideal that USC would like to do, where they're not going to be out there just throwing cash around that ultimately it becomes a waste. You see this in a lot of other sports, and I'm not going to spend too much time talking about soccer, but like there have been transfer sagas with Liverpool and Chelsea, your team, where one player was trying to pit the other two against each other, and Liverpool basically said, peace out, Caicedo, go to Chelsea, we're not going to match.
And now he's the best DM in the Prem.
Well, he's a very good DM, but
best one in the Prem.
Liverpool basically said, no, we're not going to deal with that. We're going to go get a stopgap in Wataru Endo, and we're going to bring up these young guys that we're going to build into our ideal midfield. So there is a team building sort of philosophy that can work, where you say, no, we're not going to overpay for Emmanuel Pregnan, because if you overpay for Emmanuel Pregnan, then you have to overpay for Elijah Page. You have to overpay for this, that, and the other thing. And then you get into this bloated thing where you start having to overpay for everybody because you've overpaid for one guy. Right. And if you choose to sort of take the hit by letting somebody walk, but then invest the funds that you would have used for that player on somebody else of value that then your structure can integrate in and get value out of, then you can be in good shape. The problem is, I think that USC is putting the cart before the horse a little bit, where, you can't trust your structure if your structure isn't already solid. You can't say, well, yeah, USC is going to figure out the offensive line thing and it's going to work out fine without Emmanuel Pregnan because we have everything, we can trust that the next man up will take care of it. USC can't trust that because they do not have bodies on the offensive line,
right? Nor a track record.
No.
Positive, right?
So it's like USC is living in this idealized fantasy where they can play NIL for value while also trying to make noise as though they are a major player in college football. And you can't really be both. You have to be at least not at the same time. If USC wanted to say outright to we're doing a rebuild and we are doing this, that, and the other thing, and it's going to be rough for a couple years, but we're going to come out on the other side better, then it would go over better. But because USC is USC, everybody expects USC to be contending for national titles, and then it's like, well, you need to make the national title acquisitions before you're ready to compete for a national title. There was this discussion on Twitter. Sorry to tangent here. There was this discussion on Twitter with Rich SC who said who had talked about how USC, watching the college football playoff, makes it very apparent how far behind USC is in terms of having the elite guys who are there that can compete for a national title. And I agree, USC needs to be hitting more on those high-level talent, high-level athletes. But I'm also at a point with USC where, you gotta crawl before you can walk, and you gotta walk before you can run. And where USC is right now, I don't even want to have a discussion about how USC competes with Georgia and Texas and Alabama and Notre Dame and Penn State and all these CFP teams before we have a discussion about how does USC make sure that they're ranked at the end of the season? How does USC make sure that they're in the top 15? How does USC make sure that they're in a position to get left out of the college football playoff and feel pissed about it? USC isn't even in that range right now. So you're putting the cart before the horse if you're talking about championships when this team isn't. It's not even competitive in the conference right now. So all of that is to say that, yes, I think losing Emmanuel Pregnan is a big, big problem. I understand how this happens, and it will continue to happen so long as, NIL juggernauts are out there giving offers to guys and enticing them that way. But such is sort of your lot in life. I think USC is, to go from a soccer metaphor to a baseball metaphor, USC is the Boston Red Sox. And there are other teams out there that are the New York Mets who have a blank check and can spend $1 billion on one player. And the Red Sox are a major franchise with history and expectations and all of that, but they operate like a team that is still limited in their resources because they are operated by an ownership group that I'm intimately aware of because it's the same ownership group that owns Liverpool, that is not in it to win a championship at any cost. They are financial people who are in it to profit and win championships. So they're trying to moneyball their way to success. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It's going to be very frustrating. And sometimes when you get things right, man, is it great because you know that you got to that mountaintop without the unlimited resources that others have done. It's just a lot harder to get to the mountaintop when you operate that way. So, nice guys finish last is the gist.
Yeah, I think that's right. And, like I piped in there a few minutes ago. It's the track record thing too. I think fans would give SC a lot more leeway in the NIL stuff if you had the wins to back things up. If you had a track record for success to say, okay, yeah, SC isn't getting these guys in the transfer portal, but they're developing these other dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Or, yes, they're going to let go of Manuel Pregnan, but you know that they're going to be able to, plug in a different hole because you've seen them do that over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
The NIL stuff is still so new that the track records are, it's all a small sample size, right?
Yeah.
The other thing, and I think that this is to go off of the Rich SC thing about how far away SC is, this is the thing that just puts my brain in a pretzel, is how far away SC is and how not that far away they are at the same time.
It's so annoying.
Because on the football field, in a one-game scenario, I don't think SC is that far away. Case in point, SC had the most offensive performance against Notre Dame of anybody this season, tested them more than anybody. SC was the only team that successfully run against Penn State. Those teams are still in the play. Like, you don't get credit for near wins. You don't get credit for being able to say that you're X amount of plays from 11-0. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and tout all those lines, but I think that's the frustrating part, is that SC could theoretically make that argument if they want to, and that's what Lincoln Riley has done, and pissed a lot of people off by saying that. And that you can do that because you're so close, and yet not because you have so many close calls that don't end up in wins, does show how far away you are because of all these things stacked up. And so, on one hand, yes, I think SC in a lot of different individual ways is not that far off. And then you see that, yes, if they upgrade the offense or the defense at any little particular spot, just 10% more, those losses turn into wins. The close wins turn into bigger wins, all those sort of things. But it's still asking for so much. And then you go back to track record. Is the track record in SC's favor? And right now it isn't, because it's 3 years of regression in the win column. 3 seasons for Lincoln Riley, and they've regressed the last 2 seasons. And we've talked about it before. You look at the metrics, SC is identical as a team in all 3 seasons. All 3 seasons, they're identical. They're ranked number 17 in FEI all 3 seasons. They've just gotten worse at winning, which is really concerning. Mm-hmm. But I think you're absolutely right. And I do want to call it, I think Rich SC, at original Rich SC on Twitter, is one of the best USC voices out there. So I would recommend you follow them. But on January 1st, they tweet, watching teams like Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, and Georgia, you can see that USC needs more studs. We have some terrific players, but we don't have the quantity of them that the top teams do. They are stacked. Recruiting and NIL need to pick up their games and fix this. The next day, January 2nd, Rich SC tweets, USC lost to Penn State after they converted 2 4th and 10s on a game-winning drive. USC lost to Notre Dame when their new quarterback threw a pick six on a miscommunication with his wide receiver in the end zone at the end of the drive that could have tied the score. These are 2 of the 4 teams left in the playoff. Mm-hmm. SC and those are led 11 games in the fourth quarter. Yes, and those thoughts are both 100% spot on. Yeah, it's just wild that USC gets to that we have to sort of do this back and forth of USC is so far away, but also USC is so close, and that is where it becomes really frustrating, because when you are USC, who you're very close to being close, but then you are far away from being on top. Mm-hmm. You're it just, I don't know, I'm wrapping myself up in tangles. Yeah. It's just crazy. Well, before we get to more transfer portal stuff, I said the FEI thing. I just looked it up. 2024 FEI rankings as a team, the team rankings, SC is 16th 16th in FEI.
Which is part of the
2024.
reason why I'm ranking them in my too early rankings.
2023, 18th. 2022, 16th. 16th, 18th, 16th in the 3 seasons. They're the same. SC is the same. All 3 seasons under Lincoln Riley. They're the same place. Obviously, they're vastly different teams. Their records have been vastly different. But this team basically is a 9-3 caliber team.
Mm-hmm.
If they win more games than they should, and in 2022 they probably won more games that they should have lost. Either way, they need to get better. But like you said, getting to the point where you can feel snubbed to be in the playoff, that's a big first step. But speaking of the playoff, Alicia, a lot of stuff is still going on in the playoff. The playoff, of course, still going. You talk about Penn State and Notre Dame. I'm pumped because that means another opportunity to join over 5 million fans who are already playing Underdog Fantasy across 33 states, including California. Underdog Fantasy has all the top leagues, teams, stars to choose from, including your favorite college football players, Trojans in the NFL, the NBA, and every league you can think of. I think your favorites will go over their stat projections in yards, touchdowns, catches, higher or lower. Put it together. Make your picks over on Underdog Fantasy. This week, I've got some picks for the college football playoff semifinals. Alicia, what do you think of this? Drew Aller, 27.5 pass attempts. I'm going higher. Approve?
I like it.
Okay. Jeremiah Love, 15.5 longest rush. I'm going higher than that.
I like that too, but I'm worried because of how little run he got in their last game.
Sure. Just means he's due. He's due. Jeremiah Smith for Ohio State. 5.5 receptions for the Buckeyes. I'm going higher.
Smash that higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Riley Leonard for Notre Dame. 217.5 pass plus rush yards. I'm going lower.
Pass and rush?
Pass and rush combined. Going lower.
Ooh, that's true. I think I would go higher there.
I'm going lower. I'm going low. I feel it. I think that Penn State Notre Dame game is like 1st to 10 wins. I think it's gonna be an ugly, well played game. If that makes any sense. Last one, Travion Henderson, running back of the Buckeyes. I'm going lower to 22.5 receiving yards.
For Travion Henderson?
Yeah. Lower, 22.5 receiving yards.
I feel like the lower is the safer one there.
Sure. I agree. Anyways, Underdog is the best place to go play Pick'em, so go join me at Underdog. Use our promo code Reign of Troy and deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That's promo code Reign of Troy. You must be 18 or older. 19 or older if you're in Alabama or Nebraska. 19 years or older in Colorado for some games. 21 years or older in Massachusetts and Arizona. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado for some games. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 52342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. Alicia, let's get back into the news and run down the transfer portal. A lot of updates here. Going to run down the list here. SC has 20 players who have entered the transfer portal. Basically, 20 players that you know of. There's like a backup punter and a backup kicker and a long snapper and we're talking 20 dudes.
Yeah.
We're going to run through this sort of rapid fire. Some of these we've already talked about, but just to catch you up on where it stands. Miller Moss to Louisville. Jake Jensen, quarterback, to Montana. Quentin Joyner, running back, to Texas Tech. Zachariah Branch, wide receiver, to Georgia. That's new. Deuce Robinson to Florida State. Kyron Hudson to Penn State. Charles Ross, Chucky Ross, going to Purdue. Kate Eldridge to Washington. Kalolo Taaga to Utah. Mason Murphy to Auburn. Amos Talalele to Auburn. To Penn State. Emmanuel Pregnan to be announced. He's still in the portal. Gino Quinones still in the portal. Bear Alexander, Oregon. Interesting. Elijah Hughes, no update. Sam Green, Kentucky. DJ Peavy, still waiting to hear on that one. Rajon Davis, Oregon State. Zion Branch, Georgia, along with Zachariah. And Dennis Lynch, the kicker, to be announced. That's where everything stands. Your thoughts on the outgoing guys?
I would like to just remind USC fans, as that list is being read out, that USC is not in the top 10 of teams with the most guys in the portal. They are like not even top 5 in the Big Ten. So that's a long list, but just remember, everybody's got a long list. So, don't freak out on that alone. We've already talked about Emmanuel Pregnan. That's the big one for me. Everybody else I can live with losing. Emmanuel Pregnan is the one that I cannot. I am very interested to see how Zion Branch and Zachariah Branch do at Georgia. Mm-hmm. I think that Georgia had a problem this year with receivers dropping passes, and I do not know that Zachariah Branch solves that problem for them, but he is a talent with a lot of potential, and if they unlock him, he will be a huge weapon for them. So it will be interesting to see them figure that out. I think there. I guess what I would say is when you're USC and you're looking at these, guys that have left, outside of the Branch brothers and arguably Bear Alexander, did USC lose players who left USC to go to CFP level teams? Not really.
Kyron Hudson to Penn State.
Yeah.
Talalele to Penn State too, but we've talked about this over on Discord with some people in our Discord. Of course, you can join us there. It's interesting because yes, there's a lot of dudes on here, and there's production and there's potential. SC has a lot of potential on this list, especially when you look at all the wide receivers: Zachariah Branch, Deuce Robinson, Kyron Hudson, Zion Branch, Sam Green. How many of these dudes, all on this list, were starting at the end of the season? Not many.
Pregnan.
Sam Green started at the Notre Dame game.
Green.
You can look at the wide receivers. Kyron Hudson, sure. Zachariah Branch was in and out of the starting lineup, absolutely. Miller Moss, of course, was benched. There's not a lot of production that is unreplaceable here.
Yeah. Like
which
I said,
I think makes this is the silver lining. The other part about it is, again, you look at the potential. Yes, Deuce Robinson's production from this past season can be replaced, bar none, no problem. Except you would hope that in 2025, he is better than what his production said in 2024. Mm-hmm. Same thing for Zachariah Branch. Same thing for Kyron Hudson. All those guys, can you replace their 2025 self is the question. SC's still got Mekhi Lemon at wide receiver. They brought in a bunch of dudes at wide receiver as well in this class. So I don't know.
The proof is in the pudding. Honestly, the proof that, I think there's a long stretch of guys that have gone into the transfer portal from USC, and when you do a where are they now, there's only a couple, only a handful that ended up, number one, being successful at their next program, and number two, having overall team success at that program. Mm-hmm. So it's a mixed bag. USC has also had transfers come in that didn't do much of anything for USC, so it goes both ways. But USC, what they do in the transfer portal as far as bringing guys in, what they do as far as developing the guys who are already on the roster and recruiting freshmen, all of that kind of stuff plays into, well, USC can be proven right to let all those guys go in the end.
Yeah.
They can also be proven very, very, very wrong when it comes to guys like Deuce Robinson and Zachariah Branch and Quentin Joyner.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because there's potential there. Dale in the chat says, is Maiava transferring?
Yeah, I wanted to address that. There were rumors that Miami, that Georgia, that a couple programs were trying to reel in Jaden Maiava. Yeah. All indications are that he did not enter the portal during the window that USC had.
Can we assume that they did not watch the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl, by the way?
Maybe they only tuned in the fourth quarter of the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Jade Maiava question is very, very interesting, but you understand why other teams are interested in him. You also understand why USC fans are gritting their teeth and preparing for pain. All indications are that he is USC's quarterback going forward. That is all indications. And the portal is now closed for USC players. They cannot enter the portal.
Yeah.
So unless he secretly entered and no one has caught on to that, that doesn't seem like it's an issue now, maybe after spring.
Let's see, we got a super chat in the meantime.
Hey.
From Tim in LA. Death, taxes, beating the SEC, and Rot being the bright spot of the season. Fight on and beat the off season. Look at that. Tim in LA is the best.
Tim in LA is the best. That's awesome. Great message. Appreciate the super chat. And yeah, fight on, beat the off season. The off season is the hardest opponent USC has faced yet.
It is tougher opponent, the offseason or number 4 Notre Dame, or whatever the hell they were ranked at the end of the season.
Yeah, but at least number 4 Notre Dame only stole 4 hours of my life.
That's a good point. The offseason, months.
Yeah.
Months. It's like a whole pregnancy.
It is a whole pregnancy.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Tim in LA. Of course, we appreciate you. And yeah, it'll be a big off season. We hope you guys are here along the way as well. Let's talk about the incoming transfer portal guys. Talked about Eli Sanders at running back from New Mexico. We talked about DJ Harvey from San Jose State at corner. And defensive lineman Jamal Jarrett from Georgia and Keyshawn Silver from Kentucky. Hi-ho. And then there's defensive back Kevin Longstreet from Texas A&M. We talked about him. He has been confirmed to be a preferred walk-on. He, of course, the older brother of Hassan Longstreet. But there's new dudes to discuss. Alicia, I'm going to skip down to the bottom of our list. I want to talk about Wayman Jordan, JUCO commit. I guess this isn't a transfer portal dude.
He's not, but he's effectively he's a transfer portal the way that like JUCO used to be transfers.
Yeah.
You know?
Does this mean he's going to be a freshman?
I guess so. The question. It's he either has 3 years of eligibility or 4.
Yeah, we'll see. 5'10", 205 lubs. He was committed to Central Florida, picked SC over Ole Miss, North Carolina, and Mississippi State. He's the top JUCO running back in the country. He led NJCAA in rushing yards and touchdowns in 2024 as a sophomore. 1,612 rushing yards, 7.4 yards a pop, 21 total touchdowns in 12 games. His agent told the OC Register they see him as the starting running back. Wow.
Yeah, he was the KJCCC Offensive Player of the Year. He was the NJCAA National Offensive Player.
So many letters.
He won the I think it's called the JUCO Heisman, the JUCO Weekly Trophy. So, like, this dude is...
How's that not named after Keyshawn?
I mean, yeah.
It should be the Keyshawn Johnson
the
Award,
Keyshawn
right?
Johnson Award, yeah.
Or the Ron Yeri Award.
Yes. USC has a long and storied history of getting guys from JUCO and having them turn out to be absolutely incredible. So,
of course, Ron Yeri was a JUCO guy because freshmen were banned.
Yeah, you couldn't play.
From playing college football back in the day.
Yeah, so suffice it to say that this JUCO transfer that is coming in he's the number one JUCO running back in terms of recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
He has won national awards at the junior college level. He seems like a more of a like for like replacement for Woody Marks in terms of style, ability, the way he sort of his size and speed and all of that kind of stuff. So really excited about this guy.
Yeah, and I think we go with Wajo.
Wajo, yes.
Like Wajo?
Wajo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wajo. I dig it. All right, other dudes to talk about incoming transfers. Offensive lineman DJ Wingfield's incredible name. Incredible name, DJ Wingfield. From Purdue, 6'4", 316 pounds. He's got a year of eligibility. Pretty good for PFF. 63.8 this past season, but 77.4 the year before as a Lobo down in ABQ for New Mexico. Lisa, what are your thoughts?
Certainly not equal or upgrade to Emmanuel Pregnan,
Right.
but it's really good to get him in just as another veteran body that you can plug in there. As I've stated a million times, I am not going to bank anything on transfer offensive linemen coming in and seamlessly taking over a starting job, but you hope that he can be the exception to that rule. You hope that you can get the New Mexico version of him rather than the Purdue version. Purdue was a wreck, so I'm not necessarily even going to put his PFF grade, take too much stock in it in the 2024 of it all. I literally just noticed, it just connected in my head that Eli Sanders and DJ Wingfield, I believe, would have been teammates at New Mexico.
Incorrect.
No?
Eli Sanders was at Iowa State.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, okay. Fair. So that is irrelevant then. So
they were ships passing in the night.
Ships passing in the night, yes. Yeah. Either way, USC needed offensive linemen. This would be a much more solid addition if they weren't having to replace Emmanuel Pregnan, which is not fair to DJ Wingfield, but it's sort of where we're at.
Yeah, I think if DJ Wingfield comes in and he's like your sixth offensive lineman and someone who can, work himself into the starting lineup if he proves to, have his merit and everything, great. If he's the guy you're relying on to be Emmanuel Pregnan, woof.
Yeah.
That fair?
Yeah. I think Zach Henson has his work cut out for him here.
Yeah. Let's talk about the kicker, Caden Chittenden. That isn't a British name. I don't know what is.
It's very
Caden
British.
Chittenden. Are you having a laugh? From UNLV, the sophomore, he was also the Mountain West Freshman of the Year. Look at SC just mining
Mountain
young
West.
dudes from UNLV.
Yep.
First team All Mountain West kicker, 26 of 33 this past season, 55 of 56 on PATs, hit a long of 52, 25 of 26 inside the 49. That's pretty good.
25 of 29 inside the 49.
Yeah, 25 of 29.
Yeah.
What did I say?
25 of 26, which would have been incredible, but yeah.
25 of 29.
Yeah.
I still think that's solid, more than solid.
I separated this out because it is significant to me. When you see 26 of 33, it's fine, but it doesn't really tell you the whole story.
Sure.
When it's 25 from 29 inside the 49, and half of his misses were from beyond 50, that tells you a lot more about his reliability.
Yeah.
Maybe doesn't have like the biggest leg in the world, but
Sure.
if you're USC, I don't think you need your kicker to have a huge leg. You just need to be reliable within the 49 and you're solid.
It's college football. You'd love for dudes to hit from 56. Case in point, Look at this past season, right? What's his face? That his name just completely what? Clay Helton's kicker.
Clay Helton's kicker. Why am I blanking on his name as well?
You know who I'm talking. Clay Helton's kicker.
Yeah,
Dude,
Michael Lance.
Lance. There we go. He could hit. Yes, I think he could hit like a 57-yarder. He could also miss a 37-yarder.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
a problem.
And like it's like Troy Van Blarcom back in the day. I always have a dream. Like, what if Troy Van Blarcom tried to kick a 58-yard field goal at the end of the Rose Bowl against Texas? Could he have done it? I think he probably could have gotten the distance. The dude had a mega leg. Would it have been accurate? That's a completely different story. And so inside the 49, if you're hitting, 85% of your kicks inside there, sign me up. Anything over 50 is a luxury. So that's good for me. Let's talk about the quarterback SC picked up, Sam Heward. It's not Brock's kid, it's Brock's nephew, which is his dad is live radio. Very not good. What? Dwayne Heward's
okay,
kid, right?
yeah.
Dwayne?
I just remember Brock Heward, so I wasn't good.
Yeah, former 5-star recruit, last played at FBS in 2022 with the Huskies at UW. Left UW for Cal Poly. Not great at Cal Poly. 18 touchdowns, 10 picks. Left the Stangs for the Utes of Utah. Didn't play last year because of an injury. Perfectly fine for me as your Jake Jensen guy. Third string behind Hassan Longstreet and Jaden Mayava, I guess.
Yeah, USC does not bring in Sam Heward hoping to see Sam Heward at any point. USC brings in Sam Heward as a veteran, like you said, Jake Jensen replacement. I would wager, like for me, my ideal would be that Jade Mayava is the starter and that's not even a question and that he does well enough that we're not talking about the backup.
Sure.
I would argue that you have Sam Heward be your backup and that you have Hassan Longstreet be your number 3 red shirt. Take a year, learn, get ready to go.
Hold on. This goes back to a situation we talked about years ago. The backup and the backup.
Yes, the backup and the backup. Yes. There's a temporary backup, like you need him to go in for a drive, and there's a backup.
Your shoe came off? Yeah. Sam Heward's coming in there.
Yeah.
Your leg fell off? It's Hassan Longstreet.
Yes, that is
what I mean?
100%. Yes, that is the way I would approach it. Yes.
Yeah. Either way, perfect scenario for me is Hassan Longstreet gets in and looks like second coming of Jesus right away.
I mean, I would love that. I do not think that is something that USC fans
you can dream
should prepare themselves for. I would say that Hassan Longstreet, the best case scenario for USC and Hassan Longstreet is that USC does not need Hassan Longstreet in 2025.
Yes. All right. Let's get to over under.
So you're going over.
I'm going to do an under here.
All right, we're going to run through these pretty quickly from the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. Over under. You said over under 8.5 Makai Lemon receptions. I said under. It was under. It was 6. You said 1.5 USC sacks. I said under. It was 1. You said
killing me, USC.
2.5 combined turnovers. I said over. It was over. It was 5. Lisa, this is not looking good for you right now.
No,
not looking good.
No, it is not.
I said 32.5 Texas A&M pass attempts. You took the under. It was over. It was 42. Way over.
Which is to say that after 4 of these questions, I am 0 for 4, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But there'd be a glimmer of hope for you. Over under 1.75 Eric Gentry tackles for loss, I said. You took the under. It was under. It was 0. Nothing. Nada.
Yep.
Nil. And the last one, I thought I wrote USC punts. It was not. It was Eddie Czaplicki punts, 4.5. He got hurt in the middle of the game, had to leave. But I will say this will stand. We keep it here because it was 4.5. I would have given some leeway. If this would have hit as a team, it did not anyways. 4.5. You took the under. It was under literally because it was only 3 Czaplicki punts. But SC only punted 4 times in the game.
Yeah, again, I was assuming that USC, there would be more turnovers that would prevent the punts. So, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, was it 3? Was it 3 or 1 and 3? Either way, one dude had 3, the other one had 1.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, it was 4 total. It didn't matter. It was still under. All right, so let's talk about the Rutbots. Lisa, going into the week. Going in. There was Scotty C in first. He was at 47 points. Trevor M, 46. And a 3-way tie for third with 28 pitch, Jensen SC 11, and Ryan from Arizona. That top 5 maintained as the top 5. So, big round of applause to Monterey Michelle, Fighting on MC from Palmdale, HH and HB, Pickle, Moose Pants, Topher Garcia, LA Fred, Matt and Rancho, Ocean Beach Trojans, on and on and on. So many other people. Kudos. We love you. Did not finish in the top 5 because here we go. Going into this last week, of course, it was double. We're double the points, right? I dominantly won you and I's thing. I was at 50 points. You had 34. By the way, never mind. I'll tell you later. So, Scotty C led. Ryan from Arizona came in and needed to pick up some ground, right? Ryan from Arizona, Alicia went 12-0. 12-0. Won all 12 points. What a way to finish. I think Ryan from Arizona, won 2 years ago. Came in with the vengeance. But Scotty C went 10-2. Trevor M went 10-2. 28 pitch and Jensen SC both went 6-6. So the final tally in first place, Scotty C with 57 points. Ryan from Arizona and Trevor M at 56. 28 pitch and Jensen SC 11 had 50, which ties me. I had 50.
Well,
so I would have been in the top 5.
Well, aren't you special?
Yeah. I'm.
We don't need to talk about where I would have been.
No, I'd still have to scroll a good bit. All right, final score predictions. You said 21-20 SC. I said 31-30 A&M. Of course, the final score was 35-31 Trojans to be the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl champions.
Woohoo!
Yeah. All right, let's get to the mailbag.
You've got mail.
All right, we got to start with a couple big reviews that we got on Apple Podcasts. We love you guys for leaving reviews. 5-star reviews from Chappie. Great podcast. This is a great podcast. The amount of time and effort required to consistently create and publish these episodes must be enormous. Michael and Alicia are wonderful hosts and very entertaining. I look forward to each episode being released. Very much enjoy listening to it on my commute, when at the gym, etc. Thanks. Happy holidays, Chappie.
Chappie, thank you.
Chappie.
Cheers.
Yeah, we love Chappie.
Love that review. Love helping folks get through their commutes and getting through the gym.
Yeah, so
it's always great when
Chappie,
you find
right
something
okay,
that helps
ready?
you.
Keep going. You got this. Come on.
Dig deep.
Yeah, you
dig
got
deep, man.
One more. Can you get one more?
You got this.
There you go. There you go, Chappie. It's going to be very awkward when this actually times up, and
I will love it.
All right, 5-star review from N Beach. Respect these enthusiastic fans. Love biased Trojan fandom that resonates from Michael and Alicia. They are stoked when the football team wins and legitimately
disconsolate.
Thank you. When losses and befuddling fourth quarter collapses accumulate. They feel it, and they try to disseminate information that is objective, knowledgeable, and helpful, and feel correctly thwarted by aspects of the entire USC administration and revenue-sharing management that jeopardize the reputation and proficiency of the on-field performances and historic brand. They exude real passion for USC, and it hurts them that in these successive 500 seasons and lower-tier bowl appearances have damaged the elite competitive expectations for their beloved Trojans. The rest of USC football fan base is spiraling in the collective head-scratching, especially during the transfer portal exodus. May I suggest that Michael and Alicia transfer their heartfelt allegiance to the USC women's basketball team and discuss its exploits if they're anxious for Trojan excellence and dominance. They also occasionally launch into food reviews and discussions of their particular taste for ingredients and dishes that are great. At some point, they'll drill down into palate sophistication and how taste develops and matures. I look forward to their evolution as a podcast.
Thank you, N Beach.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Big cheers. Big cheers.
As for the USC women,
pretty good.
If I told you that a USC athletics team played Rutgers and beat them 92-42,
by 50,
would you have guessed that it was football or basketball? Because it was basketball.
I mean, 92-42 as a football score. What does that game look like?
Well, and it doesn't suck. It's awesome, but like, I think at halftime the score was 37 to, what is this, 16?
Yikes!
It was like the whole game was a football score until they got to the when they got to the fourth quarter, and then it went away from a football score. But
you know my favorite,
Kenny, more proof that we are not allowed to watch USC basketball play basketball games.
Yeah,
we are not allowed to watch USC athletics teams play with you, me, and Kenny, because he just pointed out correctly that the only time they lost was when the three of us watched them.
They also lost. SC men lost to Michigan.
While we were watching
on Saturday, we were watching with
Kenny. Yeah. We went to the Notre Dame loss. We went to the Galen Center for that and watched them lose badly.
Unbelievable.
And then we arrived at Kenny's home to celebrate his birthday when USC was still competitive against Michigan. And then during our time watching that game, things went to hell again. So
brutal.
Yeah.
All right, we got an email from Tony. We got a bunch of them. This is the one that I wanted to get to more than anything. Alicia and Michael, this is Tony from the Nora, PA. Jacoby Lane is the Dave Kingman of SC wide receivers. I'm going way back. You guys probably will have to Google who Dave Kingman is, but he was a player where the majority of his hits were home runs. Tony, I love you, bud, but I take offense to not knowing who Dave freaking Kingman was.
Oh, I definitely had to look that up.
That's pretty well hit. Back to go. Stay fair, baby. Back. A home run for Kingman. The Cubs lead by 2.
Yeah, that's Jack Brickhouse talking about Trojan legend and Cubs legend, Dave Kingman. One of the few USC Cub connections. Not that many of them. Dave Kingman, Mark Pryor, Jock hit it into to the ground and ground out to second base Jones. Struggling to name another one.
Can we talk about his 1977 season?
Okay.
Okay, 1976, he is an all-star with the Mets, Dave Kingman. In 1977, he plays for the Mets and then goes to the Padres and then goes to the Angels and then plays with the Yankees.
Yeah,
how did that happen?
He was a homer mercenary.
He hit 20 home runs that season. Like,
I mean, what's 20 and 77? That's like,
sorry, 26.
It's like 34 today, 35, 36 today.
He hit 26 20 of them
with
were
the inflation,
20 of them were in the NL with 2 teams, and 6 of them were in the AL with 2 teams. But yeah, what is he? And then so it's crazy to me because I expect this kind of season like at the end of somebody's career when they're getting DFA'd and all that kind of stuff, and time is coming for them. But then he lands with the Cubs in 78, All-Star 79 and 80. And then has another 6 years of his career with the Mets. Sorry, 3 years with the Mets, 3 years with the A's.
Mm-hmm.
Wild.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird situation. You look at his transactions, by the way.
What is the game that John Boy plays where that you just look at the baseball ref?
Guess the ref or whatever it is.
Yeah, this would be a fun guess the ref.
I think it would be easy
because you'd know,
because it'd be a whole bunch of home runs. Yeah, but you look into the transactions here on his Baseball Reference. June 15th, 1977, traded by the Mets to the Padres for Paul Seibert and Bobby Valentine. Love that. September 6th, he's selected off waivers by the Angels. September 15th, a week later, traded by the Angels to the Yankees for Randy Stein, and then granted free agency at the beginning of November, and then signs with the Cubs the end of November.
Again, he had a busy 1977.
Yeah. A September trade is always crazy because that means you're not eligible for the playoffs. Wild. Ron Murray in the chat says Randy Johnson. Randy Johnson never played for the Cubs. Not a Cub Trojan. A combined Cub Trojan. That's the key. You got to have a combined Cub Trojan. And I'm scrolling down here really quickly. Off the dome. I don't see other ones as easily to remember. Oh, Robert Stock. Recently. Forgot about him. Yeah, he was another one. All right, moving on. We got an email from Ron. Was that the worst USC quarterback performance of the 21st century? Referring to the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl, in which Jade Mayava threw a few interceptions. Worse than Corp or anything like that JT Daniels ever did. All at the time of this email, he's 6 of 19 and just threw his second pick of the night. Awful. He's throwing lobs. He's throwing off the back foot. Ron from Northridge. Ron, I don't disagree. I know that Jaden Mayava in the fourth quarter put things together. He led quite a few scoring drives in the second half, including the game-winning drive in the last couple minutes. So I think because of that, I don't think it's the worst quarterback performance we've ever seen.
Well, it was through 3 quarters.
But quarters,
totally fair.
Absolutely was.
It was Aaron Corp level of like this person is not playable.
Yes. No.
Not in the good way that like the Brits say. Like this person should not be playing.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up. Can we see what his passing stats were in just the? Yeah, we can go to comparison. Quarter cumes. Fourth quarter only. Mayava, 11 of 14, 2 touchdowns, a pick, 137 yards. Not terrible. The one pick was to me, maybe the most egregious one, the arm punts from the 2-yard line. Through the third quarter, he was 11 of 25, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 158 yards. So, yeah, it was not my favorite quarterback performance for sure.
But I mean, to his credit, he rallied. He did enough to win in the end, and there's value in that.
Yeah. Alien 55 says, up until the fourth, it was Max Wittick in the Sun Bowl. Max Wittick in the Sun Bowl, yes.
I have no memory of that performance, to be quite honest, because I have no memory of that game.
We're lucky. We're envious. We're envious. Here's the deal. That game had wind and a team that didn't give a crap.
Yeah, there was more going on there.
I'm not going to give Max Wittick too much grace for that, but at least there was crazy wind. This was inside, perfect weather, and the whole bit. So I don't know. Alicia, we got a long email from West Texas Mike. I would like a dramatic reading of it.
Okay.
Can you oblige us?
From me?
Yes.
Okay.
You ready?
Ready. My last football love, USC, was going to play my first football love, Texas A&M. And then they were going to play down the street from me in Vegas. And for some reason, they were going to play at midnight during a weekday in front of a half-field stadium. And even though the game was down the street from me, I didn't go. Because I'd already gone to 4 USC games. I got COVID from the LSU game, I had bird flu 2 weeks prior, and I didn't want to come down with bird flu too, while yelling at Lincoln Riley to run the goddamn ball. So in this matchup, we actually felt good about Lincoln Riley's defense for once. But we were completely worried about his offense, which was the worst he's ever had. It was so bad, half the offensive players got pissed and left. One player left because he got used too much against the goddamn Irish. Another because he was expected to use his height, leave the ground, and leap for the football. Another because he was only interested in catching passes for Cirque du Soleil. Caleb Williams' successor also left because Lincoln told him there wasn't enough money to add a Heisman to his NIL deal. Caleb Williams, by the way, got drafted by the Chicago Bears and got sacked on every down except when he would throw touchdowns while lying on his back. But because USC was playing in Vegas, they got to use UNLV's quarterback. But whenever he ran, he would run like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo and only pick up like a yard. He was also blind in one eye and colorblind in the other. Anyway, because we were all yelling at Lincoln to run the ball more, Lincoln tried to save his job by bringing back Lendell White in the first half. But after the UNLV quarterback changed his one contact at halftime, it turned out that USC's 2 remaining receivers on the roster, Jacoby Lane and Mekhi Lemon, were more than good enough to help USC come back after the team got down by 17 points. Just as Lincoln Riley brought back Lendell White in the first half, he used his phone-a-friend card to bring back Kyle Ford from UCLA for the game-winning catch. Oh yeah, Emmitt Smith's son tried to bring Texas A&M back in the final seconds, but he somehow fell backwards out of bounds while throwing the ball into the stands. As late as the game ended, the CarCast lasted until sunrise, where you two talked about Jessie pooping perfectly aluminum-wrapped Hershey's Kisses because she'd gotten into an illicit stash of chocolate. Anyway, that was just a weird dream I had. West Texas Mike in Vegas.
Alicia, I don't think you've ever done anything in your life better than that. Because like the timing, exquisite.
Did I hit the post?
Yeah, no, like perfect. Like perfect landing.
Let's go.
Like
Let's
like
go.
landing a Boeing 777 through the fog. One of the greatest emails we've ever gotten, if not the greatest.
That was beautiful.
West Texas Mike, WTM. We love it. We appreciate you. And couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, absolutely.
I think we neglected to point out that I believe the header for this email was "I had a dream" or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the music hopefully would have said
Well, it worked. Yeah.
said that. Yeah. Shout out to the song called Ethereal when I just searched ethereal music. All right. Alien 55 in the chat says, honestly, that was my favorite part of the year, the extended Jessie story. It was pretty good.
Honestly,
it was not bad.
It was the low light and highlight of our 2024.
We had a family dinner with your family over the weekend, and your brother is like, man, it was crazy, the thing about Jessie, right? Like, I was listening on the pod. I'm like, hold on, you were listening on the pod. That means that you listened through 2 hours to get to the thing?
This is
He's
my
like, oh yeah, I couldn't turn away.
This is my brother who's a Notre Dame fan, by the way.
By the way, big shout out to Joaquin.
Hey, Joaquin, if you're still here, I love you.
And don't forget to watch the Notre Dame game this week.
Yeah, don't.
I think they play on, is it Thursday?
Double, triple check the time of the game so that you don't miss it.
Yeah.
And turn on your TV 30 minutes after it's over, thinking you're about to watch Notre Dame play in the playoff. Don't do that.
Yeah. I'm Googling right now. Notre Dame, Penn State, Everything you need to know from 1 foot down. What does it say? 7:30 p.m. Eastern. That's
Eastern.
4:30 p.m. Pacific on ESPN.
Yes.
You got that, bud?
4:30 Pacific.
Yeah. Hold on.
What time did you say we were eating at 4?
4:30.
Yeah.
4:30. All right. Email from Tony in Denora, PA. This is Tony from Denora, PA. I just finished my 2034 season using SC and EA Sports. NCAA 13 on PS3. I didn't win the championship. I lost one game to Notre Dame. It cost me a shot at the title. I ended up 13-1 with the Big Ten title and a Rose Bowl victory. I still enjoy playing this game after all these years. I've won 6 national championships at SC. 4 of them I was undefeated, and twice I had 1 loss. It's still a challenging game. P.S. You guys have a safe and happy New Year's. Fight on. You too, Tony. We appreciate you.
Yeah, Happy New Year to Tony. Happy New Year to his NCAA 13 franchise or dynasty mode.
Mm-hmm.
I would that I could win a national title with any team in college football 25. Would that I could.
Alicia, this is perfect time to tell people.
Did North Texas win a national title?
Oh, I don't want to talk about that. But twitch.tv/MickCast22. MickCast22. Go over there, subscribe to my silly Twitch channel, and watch me ride the Cocks to a championship, hopefully.
Yeah.
The Gamecocks. South Carolina?
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Correct.
In our NFL Network dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
We did get some feedback on that.
Yeah.
So maybe don't watch Michael's stream when children are in the room.
We did get a comment. I'm gonna pull it up right now. Keep talking about it. I'll look it up.
Well, here's what I'll say. I am married to this man, so obviously I kind of like hanging out with him. Allegedly, some of the time. But I will say, I think Michael is doing an incredible job broadcasting his South Carolina and North Texas games. It's very, very fun to experience those games while he is going through it. And he has gone through it a few times.
Dare I say, go watch the game from yesterday.
Yeah.
Particularly the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I've been watching highlights all day.
Well, I mean, the game from yesterday, I am sitting on the couch doing my crochet because I'm working on a crochet blanket, and Michael walks out from the studio just like doing this little dance. And I'm like, okay, well, this man beat Alabama. So
that's right.
He's feeling himself a little bit.
On the road.
Yeah.
In Bryant-Denny. Yeah. Vince Steed, my true freshman.
With a hurdle to rival Saquon Barkley's hurdle.
I hurdled 2 dudes.
Yeah.
You've never seen a cock get that high. Let me tell you. He got so high. It was incredible. Go Gamecocks.
Just not that there's anything, not that it's like I don't know that it like needs a TVMA necessarily.
I got the comment.
Just be prepared for him to milk the Gamecocks mascot for all it's worth.
Cocky, yeah. Why wouldn't I? I? The comment from CFB 2024 uploads. Love the channel, by the way. I like this podcast. Michael, I tried to check out your Twitch stream of CFB 25, but if it can't be watched with my kids in the room, I'm out. I apologize. I'm sorry. Sometimes our play is NSFW because I'm trying to win championships, man.
Yeah.
Trying to win championships. All right. We got a question from Kenny in the chat. Who are you rooting for in the college football playoff semifinals? Who you got?
So Oregon's loss has taken one of my worst case scenarios off the board. I I need just one more worst case scenario taken off the board, and that would be Notre Dame.
It's your alma mater.
The problem is that in order for that worst case to get taken off the board, another tertiary worst case goes to the national title game. But I think it would be very funny if Penn State beat Notre Dame, went to the national title game, and then lost to either Ohio State or Texas because that would just be funny. So right now I am rooting for Texas. I just think it would be cool. As frustrating as it is, because USC is very much USC can't have nice things, and the people who do well away from USC do terribly at USC. Although Sark didn't do terribly at USC, that was just life. But I would like to see Sark succeed. As Kenny said, it would be painful, but I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter about that one. Ohio State losing personally is the best outcome for my work life, because I am fully ready to write a lot of Ryan Day content. But I'm not opposed to Ohio State winning. I think that Ohio State winning is like Manchester City or the Yankees winning the Premier League or the World Series. It's like, well, yeah, of course that happened.
But the Yankees don't win World Series.
I mean, that's true.
They famously don't.
So yeah, I don't have a problem with Ohio State winning.
I would argue Ohio State winning is the best case scenario. Then you don't have to worry about Texas winning a national championship. We know how SC fans feel about Texas. You don't have to worry about Notre Dame winning, and you don't have to worry about Sark winning. And I am a Sark apologist. I like Sark. I've always liked Sark. I hope for the best for Sark. Absolutely. I don't think I can root for the burnt orange.
I mean, this is true. This is fair. I don't know that I'll be rooting for anyone. I will be rooting against a particular team.
I wouldn't mind Penn State winning. Honestly, I wouldn't mind Penn State winning.
This is no. This is where I feel very calm about all of this, because in all of these games I will have somebody to root against, except for the Cotton Bowl, which I don't really care. I will be rooting against Notre Dame until they're eliminated. And then after they are eliminated, I will be rooting for Penn State, rooting against Penn State. So it's all fine. Either way, I want the winner of the Cotton Bowl to win a national championship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is a statement you've always said.
Yes.
I think.
Yes. If I could take away my James Franklin, if I could set aside my opinions on James Franklin and not have to concede that he is anything more than just a medium coach, he is, Clay Helton on steroids. He is James Franklin. Yeah. If I could set that to the side, Penn State or Notre Dame winning. And I can't set Notre Dame to the side, so we're not going to do that. Penn State winning, at least USC can say they took the national champion to overtime. So, still don't want to see it, but
your SRS distribution champs, and we should have beaten the national championship team before going to overtime.
Yeah.
Team, your Trojans.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna wrap up there. Thanks as always for listening to us. We appreciate you. Give us your reviews on Apple Podcasts. Leave your likes here on YouTube and comments and all of those things. We appreciate you. Also, big ups to the late. I don't mean late in a bad way, but the super chats that came in after we recorded the CardCast. So, I believe it was Dan and Steven. Big ups.
Cheers.
We appreciate you. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Hold on, let me hit this. There we go.
Excellent.
There we go. All right.
Stay warm, Josh, in Buckeye Country. Stay warm.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be back next Monday the 13th, to talk about, I don't know, whatever else there is to talk about.
I mean, I'm sure there will be
There's always
transfer
something.
portal stuff. There will be coaching hires. I mean, USC still needs a tight ends coach and a linebackers coach, so wait for that. And
This is an extremely niche reference, but there's a TikTok account I follow. It's these two dudes. I think they're from Saskatchewan.
oh yes, those guys are fun.
I think they're from Saskatchewan.
That sounds right.
They might be from Alberta, but I think they're from Saskatchewan. Where I'm Leroy, he's Leroy behind the camera. There's always something to do.
They're fun. I love them.
Yeah, so there's always something to talk about. There's always something to do.
Yeah, maybe we'll be discussing Colin Cowherd as USC's GM. And you can share your hot take that that's not the worst hire in the world.
Okay, when I say that it's not the worst hire in the world, I'm not endorsing it.
No, it's.
I'm not endorsing Cowherd as the GM.
I agree with you in that I think that people don't understand how closely Colin Cowherd follows USC, follows recruiting, follows all of the things. He is deep in it.
If you're going to make, what I'm saying is, if you're going to make a dumb hire by hiring somebody from a radio show, he's the best option in that very weird category.
You should not be hiring your GM from the media just number one.
No.
But if you are going to hire your GM from the media, you could do worse than Colin Cowherd.
You could do worse.
That doesn't mean that we endorse hiring anybody from the media. I don't want anyone
Except
from the
for
media.
Me.
Except for you. You be the GM.
Yeah, I'll do it. All right. Until next time, we'll see you. See ya.
See ya.